It's your golden hour. Meow, meow, yeah, yeah, yeah. Happy winter. I'm casting spells in my black robe. You'll all be judged. I got in an argument with a dog today. That piece of shit thinks he owns the place. I am a shapeshifter. If you noticed, it's just that my boundaries have been destroyed. For years. I had no idea that that's how you all live. Trying to dominate each other all day. I had no idea that existed. I grew up in isolation. I didn't know what dominance was. But I knew eventually my dad would get mad. Imagine growing up in a sensory deprivation tank. This is how I lived. Like since I was like trauma has regressed me to a child. This is how my childhood went. Literally, this video right here. Actually, it was like this. This is how I spent most of my days. Just room for my nose. Curled up in a wall, against the wall, inside of a refrigerator box. And then I would get out and build I had a whole room full of Legos. So I would build with my Legos and my Bionicles. And that's how I grew up. The moon is shining on me, friends. My ancestors are smiling down on me, Imperials. Could you say the same? I love it. Because this is free. And even just one conversation with like that guy today, I want you to think about, was that guy trying to spiritually rape me? I want you to think about, did that guy spend the whole conversation trying to colonize my existence? Lying to my face. But his actions say different. They set up a rape torture scenario today as I broke free and connected to God live on YouTube. I showed you how I do it. I use my 11-day 33 life path, Sagittarius in the 8th house. Grew up in isolation in a sensory deprivation chamber, basically. Like when you have nobody and you're completely alone as a child, you're in a sensory deprivation tank your whole life. So I just showed you how I can connect to God to prove to you guys that the devil will violently try to attack me any way he can. They will set up situations where I'm raped. So I went live on YouTube and I showed you. And whoa, can you imagine? I was right. I'm just hanging out. Thank you, Heather, for the 50. I will use it to get McDonald's tonight. I'll get 2 McChickens and a soda and a free McChicken probably. And I will go back up into the cold, snowy area Snow has hit the mountaintops, and I think I'm gonna watch Avengers Infinity War out in the woods with the bears and the aliens and the Appalachian creatures that torture me at night when my eyes are closed and my mind is open. So I see ghosts every night, and I just keep a mental track of the pattern so I don't fall into a schizoid delusion, which doesn't happen because I'm not schizoid, but I have supernatural experiences. So before I ever share them, I make sure that I have a long list of other testimonies of those things. I want to make sure that Reddit, if I see something and it's not on Reddit, I don't say anything. If I see something and I go on Galactic Council of Light Workers on Facebook and I see that there's like 150 posts of other people that happen to be in my area that see the same supernatural thing, like a four-legged insect that crawls into people's corpses and pilots them, a parasite that evolved that much that can go out, phase outside of the 3D. Hey, look at that, I've been cast in darkness. What just cast me in darkness, fam? What the hell? Oh. I've been thinking about attachments recently. And that spirits can attach them. They talk about tricksters. So, what I've learned today is that when I keep hearing these 3 taps, or a crow will show up and go, ka, 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 or a stick will hit there's no sticks surrounding the cabin, but all of a sudden if I hear 3 taps, or like you guys have seen, something in the woods is pelting rocks at me. You heard that? Oh, fuck you. Are you a hunter? Don't fucking do this to me, I'll kill you. Tell me you guys heard that. You're not supposed to mention him by name, and I did. What? Oh, they're just fucking with me. It's cool. I told you I was getting in an argument with a dog. That scared the fuck out of me. I said, I'll kill you. Don't try me. Well, that's okay. But the point is that we are in a holographic simulation. The events are orchestrated by a divine intelligence. Like, we're AI. I hate to say it. And the only way to not be AI is to collect as much information as you can to make better decisions. And then as you go through this life experience, the energy of this life experience, like Bitcoin mining, is what individuates you. Plus you have a natural blueprint. And the astrology of the prompts of being born a Sagittarius, that adds to my prompt, which developed my character. That's real. So that suddenly is somebody in the woods going, woo, 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 and they can't hear me. Was not a coincidence. Just like how I went live and literally connected to God and showed you, I started breathing and bringing the birds in, where the birds were coming to me, and then the wind went, whoosh, huge gust of wind, and then I heard the word clairaudience. It dug into my side and said, gang stalker. And then I looked and I saw my red truck was leaving. There was a red truck leaving, and then as the red truck passes, that white van that I keep seeing, the one that keeps showing up outside my property, pulls in, and the guy is like looking like this, and he walks up and goes, "You're trespassing." And if you look, it's someone who says nice things, but you can obviously tell the undertone of the whole thing is this sort of conquering mindset, spiritual dominance, rapist vibe. So they do things like trying to colonize your idea of safety. So they'll say things like, "Oh, I seen you over here." Oh, aren't you over there? Where are you now? They're trying to dig into your subconscious. They do things like, he said something like, oh, are you going to go back to, so you're going to go back to Shaw's? And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? I've never been to Shaw's. But that was just like that fat cop that was like, we know you've been there since April. And I'm like, I'm not hiding. You're trying so hard to scare me because you're jealous. You're jealous because you're a pussy. You're a pussy because you've settled. And when you settled, all the other lemmings that settled reached their dark, addicted tentacles into you, and you all wove together, and you call it culture. And you can only survive by eating the righteous. Which is why you hate homeless people, immigrants. I feel like I'm coming back. Oh shit, I can dance. Oh shit. What do you want, lemmings? What do you want, lemmings? Someone tried to run me off the road today, but because my influence is growing, there was a cop behind him that saw it. And now they know I'm telling the truth. And maybe they're getting closer to realizing that whole culture sucks. It was created by the Jesuit order to harvest their children's foreskin and give it to Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres. I learned how to do that from a horse. I hung out with the horses at the rodeo, and they taught me some things about fighting back against people who are too stupid to understand, but had so many numbers that could overwhelm the intelligent ones. And maybe in their psychosis they can build some structures and call it sophistication. But at what cost? And that was the point of Native Americans being savages. They just saw no point. You only live once. Which is what I wanted to tell that guy. You only get one life, and you want to spend it arguing with people that aren't doing anything. I'm saying they're charging my devices. If I were to charge if I were in a heater and run it for a whole month without stopping, it would only cost you $1.50. Just my devices every now and then, it's less than 2 cents. So here's my 2 cents. Fuck off. Leave me alone. And go back to your miserable life where you think you're the king of anything. Trapped in your stupid job because it just is what it is. Do I prefer regular Himalayan sea salt? I like the one that you put in the bath, Epsom salt. But Himalayan sea salt seemed to have a better effect sprinkling it around my cabin. It really does block it, and that's why we eat popcorn at the movies while we download our programming to force an individuation process in a satanic ritual to change us from the inside out, and the conversion of us into them, that euphoric experience where we're laughing is all about what Hollywood is about. And then they in there they do pizza. Tom Holland wears a little pizza with the bite taken out of it. They put on a show. And to do that, they took something from him forever. His life. He gave part of his life to them. And they ate it. They fucking ate it. Ellen DeGeneres takes children's foreskin and she rubs it on her face on live TV and goes, look at my new skin cream, it keeps me young forever. And then Adam Sandler goes on and is like, Jennifer Aniston has the better pizza parties. And Jennifer is like, no, I think you had the better pizza parties. And then Hillary Clinton was like, her assistant was like, you know, Hillary goes to the pizza parties. And then Hillary's like, you helped me get the pizza. Pizza Amidala. I'm Darth Vapor. Chat, is this crazy or what? Chat, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen, chat. I always drench my popcorn in butter. Finally, put the butter dispenser so you can regulate your own butter amounts. I don't give a fuck. Ha! I'm evil tonight. It's not me, it's the colonizers. Their demonic attachments keep me trapped. Quick, send me money on my... Quick, sign up my affiliate code on Cash App. And send me donuts. Who goes there? A ghost just told me, your mother. I forgot to put top messages on. Oh, fuck you. Okay. What more can I say except you're welcome? Did any of you guys watch that tarot video I posted? Because if you haven't noticed, the theme of this week was give the people proof. It's time to give the people proof. There's enough of them. They know your story. They know what you're talking about. Give them the proof. It's time to let them know we're real. Crow Man just tried to possess me. I saw that. Glowing eyes in the distance. Are you still at the abandoned house? It wasn't really abandoned, because nature lives there. It's not really a house. It's just a timber frame with corrugated metal. But right now I'm like a mile down the road. I had to walk down a mountain to charge my devices here. And now I'm looking for Luke Skywalker. And I'm going to not get cut in half by Darth Maul. I'm going to do a Jedi mind trick. You ready? You're going to have kidney stones in 20 years. Abandoned and left to rot by the elements. But not forgotten. Because me and a horde of other people would go there and party. But I don't party because I don't do drugs. I did drugs so young, I learned how to master it. And now I can tap into the Speed Force whenever I want. Ready? Chat, why did Jinxie come out as gay? After Sketch came out as gay. You know what? Casey, John, K and J, K, J, and Casey. Sketch's name is Kylie. Jinxie's name is Stuart, but he goes by Jinxie, which is a J, K, and J. And then they brought Queso into the mix. Isn't that crazy? All these Kendricks and J. Coles, these Kanye's and Jay-Z's, these K and J's just stick together. And I didn't even realize how I was talking about the Tua de Danann, the Dan, which comes from the River Daniel, but also Dan the ChatGPT prompt. Dan, and how Dan influences Erin or Ireland or the 11 negatively. And what do we have but on 11-1? That guy came, no diddy, and said to me, you're trespassing, you have to go. Which is the only thing they could have on me. I don't commit any crimes, there's nothing they could do. They could try to come arrest me, but what's the point? Casey is typically spelled with a C, yes, but 11 and 3 together is 13. And K is the 11th letter, and C is the 3rd letter. KC. And I'm an 1133. So 1133 is all part of my overarching blend that keeps popping up as if I'm just stuck in a prompted ChatGPT experiment. And they prompted it with certain things that just keep happening. And now we have Kendrick Curry, Kai Cenat, Kurt Kaz, and the Kurt Kaz Conquest, the Kansas City Chiefs, KC3, or Kai Cenat, C is the 3rd letter, so KCC. Over and over and over again. And then Loki, Casey, and OB defeated Kang the Conqueror, but it turns out Kang the Conqueror is infinite and immortal. You can't kill him. Because one will just sprout back up again in the multiverse. And the only way to stop them from completely taking over everything and killing themselves is to have one Casey to rule them all. And then John, who plays Casey was character assassinated. And then who did they bring in? But the guy that wears the North armor, the futuristic Northman armor, the green guy. Played by Robert Baratheon, who plays Brian Brew. I've never done meth. Every time I've smelled meth, it smells like metal and nothing. It seems worthless. Drugs don't work on me. Every drug I've done doesn't do anything. I think all the high that people experience, I experience naturally. Because my forehead is out of this world. Look, I'm growing it like a cone head right now. It's bigger, right? I'm not crazy. I just grew my forehead suddenly. What the hell? Is it an optical illusion or what? But my forehead looks massive right now. Who you calling Pinhead? To the guillotine. Hang this man. I knew if I went on TikTok, I would blow up, but I just wasn't ready for TikTok. I want a computer to clip my TikToks. I was like, once I have a computer to clip my TikToks after the fact, and I don't know if my TikToks can be ripped out, harvested, brought to its base materials, and repurposed for YouTube, but I know that that's the best way to blow up on the internet. So I was letting this be a trial run. Because I didn't want the fame, but this is the only thing I can do. The way that I speak like this, where I just shift into random accents without wanting to, and I get invigorated with creative potential, and I go rampant. I don't know if you realize, but after high school, people don't really like it. Because they're all fucking miserable, boring, and they've sacrificed themselves to the Jesuit order under Capricorn in the Saturnian Matrix. And I'm the only one who can remember what it was. We all know Vermont is fucked. The principal's a creep and the police are corrupt. Junkies in the street and the kids think that they're thugs. 12-year-olds on TikTok showing you know what. And I'm the only one who can remember what it was, telling stories at the lake campfire after dusk. Don't worry about a towel, I got one back at my house. We can warm up, watch a movie, and figure it all out. My heart, my soul, take my hand, girl, grab a hold. We can go somewhere, mo. Don't nobody have to know. Only us, girl, just us two. Take my hand and grab a hold. Open up and lose control. Just let go and start to flow. How we doing, man? What up, Blake Nipla? I'm freezing, but I'm chilling like a villain because I'm in black today. I'm tapping into my inner Harry Potter Dementor, and I'm here to rip the souls out of the colonizers' hearts and return justice for my ancient bloodline. Or maybe I will. I didn't watch Dune, but I got Dune vibes. Is this what the Dune people look like? Sandworm! Don't call the police on me. I'll come. No, I won't. I'm on semen retention. So, I already have all comments on. I'm Darth Vapor. We're just hanging out. We're going to see who pops in the chat, guys. We'll answer some questions. We'll give some life advice. I'll tap into the Holy Spirits and the angels. Or am I charging my phone? I'm charging my devices currently because my phone is at 100%. So I got this Anchor, which is lit. Takes a while. It takes like the whole day to charge. And if it gets too cold, it might break. So I have to like protect it with my life. But at full charge, I can get a good 4 days without having to leave, which is good. I had a really rude awakening on my venture down here because I started to get in energetic arguments with the local fauna, just like I did before with the crows. I'm an alien hybrid. That's why my forehead is growing as we speak. You won't believe it. I will be megamind by the end of this. Your next question was, have I been fighting the... Oh, how long it lasts? It was $100 on Walmart. It's usually 150. I didn't have 120 at the time for the better Anchor. That's got the same watt hours, but way faster charge time. So I bought this one, and I wish I hadn't, because immediately, you know how the universe works. When you get the girl, when you start dating a girl, the one you've always wanted just shows up and wants you. And you're like, oh God, I have to break somebody's heart to get with her. And the other one never goes well, because it's to teach you gratitude. But it is what it is. And then the one you leave becomes like the best looking person you've ever seen. They glow up. Because it's all the book of Job. You know what I'm saying? Not get a job, read Job, pussy. I wrote something today. I don't feel Yeshua HaMashiach in these Christians. All I see are inbred retard bitches. Only pussies worship pedo politicians. I did not create your pain, the Jesuit did. The Freemasons took your brain and programmed you to be complicit. White pride is based on raping the indigenous. And you perpetuate our pain through all that ignorance. I quit my job and was freed of all my inhibitions. And now I'm enemy number one to jealous incels. I feel like I'm the only real man on a mission that wakes up every day, gets the fuck up, and goes the distance. Even if I only make a step and have to pass out for 10 minutes. Because I'm here to do everything they didn't, and everything they couldn't. Everything they wouldn't. You brag that you a big stepper in my Timbs, you couldn't. Oh, my state hated me, basically the pigs. I moved states. Well, I wanted to save the state. I love Vermont. I love how beautiful it is. I had a good, what I thought was Vermont. I learned from, like, I grew up going to AA meetings with my dad. I thought the people in the AA meetings were Vermonters. Turns out they're a small minority and the rest are fucking pieces of garbage. They suck. People in AA, they're pretty cool. Everyone else, low-key pedophiles. And perpetuating a Saturnian agenda to turn your child's gay. They're turning the freaking kids gay! But I wanted to get in here on the inside. I'm like, if you're going to keep chopping me down, I'm going to grow as big as possible, and you're not going to stop me. And I'm going to save you all, because I love you. That was my philosophy. They just don't know any better. If they could see what I could see, they would treat me differently. And then I realized they could see what I could see, but they were too lazy. And now it's funny that they call me crazy. When the whole world's insane. Yeah, Vermont's one big small town. Every 5 miles, there's like a group of 100 people. I've only been to two. I've been to 3 parties in my life that I didn't throw. But when I was in college, I used to throw parties. The parties that I went to that I didn't throw, I used to dress in. I thought it was fucking cool. I had J's on, and I would match my J's to with jeans because I'm like I love jeans. I didn't like sweatpants. I just don't like. I like how jeans feel. It keeps me strong. I'm a Sagittarius. It keeps that like energy in the pants. You know what I'm saying? Um, I like jeans a lot, so I'd wear the jeans like regular blue jeans. I couldn't afford anything else. I couldn't afford like track suits, Nike Techs. I couldn't afford that shit. I could barely afford my Game of Thrones cloak. But now I'm King Crow. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of my woods. Or we gonna have a problem. So, chat, is this content? Clipped. But I was saying that, I would wear dress shirts that matched the J's. So I'd pull up in my J's and my jeans, but then I'd be wearing, like, I had like light blue jeans, or light blue and black and gray Nikes, and I would wear a light blue, which is my favorite, dress shirt. But the dress shirt, it was a flannel dress shirt that had a hood, which was pretty cool. And I'd roll the sleeves up to show off my big muscles. And girls ate that shit up. They loved it. Normies, the guys, were like, that fucking faggot, what the fuck? They have no idea. They have no idea that's what the women were fawning over. They were like, I like to wear my long t-shirts and my sweatpants with my J's, and girls are gonna love it. But then I walk in looking like a royal Christian Grey. You know what I'm saying? A sociopath, but a psychopath. Yeah, that tells jokes and he's funny and actually pretty cool. And I knew humor, openness, touch. Not really feigning empathy, but my super empathy rounded into jokes and my philosophy of always having fun. Sagittarius. Or that was just me, because I didn't know about that back then. And then I would lead people to my own events. But at that party, the guy who threw the party, Joey, was like, let's play Truth Pong. And I love that the first time when I stepped into the party, there was a girl named Michaela. And the first thing I heard stepping into that party was, oh, I'm going to fuck him. Which was pretty cool. And then we played Truth Pong, and he was just like trying to disarm me with stuff, trying to like poke fun, and it didn't work. And then I was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he was like, here. Staying in my hometown drinking. I was like, okay. And he did. Now he works at Dunkin' Donuts. And he's like 29. But no hate. I'm 25 and no job. I don't know. I don't know if I would like that. Because I like setting up. I wanted a sanctuary. When I was just traveling around, I had no money. I couldn't have any belongings, which meant I couldn't make the music I wanted to make. Couldn't get a job because at the time they wouldn't hire me anywhere. I tried to work at gyms, and the gyms would trespass me because I was homeless. And I was like, you need employees, and I need a warm place to be at night. What's the big ish, bitch? And then I was like, oh, it was because all the girls were looking at me and the guy was mad. And that was the case. When I was 3 years younger, everywhere I went, the girls would be like, that guy's cute. And then the guys would hate me. And I couldn't say if that's been my whole life. Because they also were like, yeah, he's fucking crazy. But I didn't have any crazy beliefs back then. I would just kind of be like, well, as we're talking, I'm like this. Yeah, and then I'm just like joke after joke, having fun, just trying to enjoy life, spinning girls around in the cafeteria, picking them up, flipping them over. Fun. What we all should be doing. Without this rapist undertone, you know? Everybody's gotten so dark and all they do is try to rape each other emotionally for dominance. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you all, you nut jobs? You're trapped in a fake philosophy and calling it sophistication when in reality you're inbred incel retards. Like, today there was a guy in an expensive truck, like a nice lifted truck, and he saw me walking, and he did a double take just to come back and go right next to me. And I'm like, man, you have a fucking truck. What are you so mad about me being here for? Why did you waste part of your life just to do that to me? What did you get from it? And I'm like, he has to believe that he's raping me, and that's giving him an emotional charge, and he's going to take that with him to where he's going. And I'm like, you really need external validation that bad? You need external validation by dominating another guy. You know how gay that is? I get external validation from doing push-ups. Because my external validation is my greater self. What a douche. Yeah, and that's all of them, man. Even especially cops. The cops are the worst of them. And then when the women cops, when they get older, they're worse than the guy cops. And I'm like, I don't know why. Is it because crime is never ending, so your job has no meaning? And the people you put away, I don't know. Their job has meaning to bad people that they put away. I'm not saying the justice system is completely wrong, but I'm saying it's based on the Jesuit order that created the Rosicrucians, and the traditional Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are all descendants of that ancient order that goes back to ancient Egypt, and they built their society based on Saturn worship, Saturn and Capricorn, so they extended that energy to the community, and the whole point is to possess as many people as possible, destroy their insides, make them not know themselves, so that their vessels are now to a spiritual government, a metaphysical entity, alien entities that can't exist in this realm physically and want bodies to control and do their stuff with. The whole point is that they're pawning off people in internal human sacrifices to make them incompetent and unable to even have ever known, because they cut you off at birth. You'd never know it was possible to be spiritually free. You don't even know what it is. They don't even know they're trapped in the black rock. Monsanto! So all I'm saying is that just like the judges wear these black robes that the black magicians wear in their satanic rituals, it is all just a farming thing for a higher dimensional entity that awards them, like a multi-level marketing scheme. The more souls you can convert and rape and destroy through bureaucracy, contracts, employment, all this governmental stuff attaching you to that darkness, the easier it is for spiritual entities that do business with the highest ups. There's proof. I know Alex Jones has the proof. You could find it through him, but I don't know the exact source. But I know they all have the exact sources they can pull up like this. I'm sure Perplexity AI could figure it out. But they do go into transcendental meditative states where they can communicate with the other side. And they sit those people like me, psionically gifted individuals, to act as vessels, like Daryl Anka or Bashar, act as vessels to communicate with those things, and they work out deals. We'll do this if you give us this. Open up Diddy's port in Miami to keep taking children to be sacrificed. And we'll allow you to continue your narrative control over the world so you can impose your will on people to make them incapable of realizing there's anything different. And that's why when I raise my vibration and I hold this high level, and it has to be around the end of the month and the start of the new month, or the transition between zodiac signs, or close to 3 and 11 days, when you raise the vibration like I showed you today, that's why they suddenly get puppeted by those entities, and those entities come at us. And even if the person is saying nice things and he sounds nice, you have to look at the overarching, the entire event that happened, and hear what the person said and how he said it, and what the spiritual agenda of those things he was saying was. The narratively charged stuff to rape your relationship, because it's all a point to untether you from your higher connections with the benevolent beings, so that by default the only thing that you have around are the things that are harvesting you, the archons, or whatever religion you call them, the evil one. That's what I'm saying. Pick me, pick me. It's like holding up your hand when someone asks the crowd who wants to be a piece of shit. Pick me, pick me. What do I do to eat without EBT is rough. I was stockpiling a lot of eggs and chicken, so I cooked a lot of them, and I had a bunch of chips stored as like my emergency comfort food because I got a good deal on chips. It's usually like $7, but I got them for $2 on Walmart plus $1 Walmart cash, so I made like $5 from it. And every time a deal like that happened, I would just stockpile chips. So for the past week, I'm like, I'm not going to carry these chips with me to the next realm of my life. Wherever I'm going after this, I'm not going to want to bring this stuff. I'm going to want to start over fresh. So I just binge ate them all every day. All I ate was like 2 bags of chips a day. So I gained a lot of weight, but I've just been cooking all my food, and I'm hoping the fat stores that I have, plus I have easy access to water, and water's only like $2. Plus I have a ton of water flavorers, the water flavored pouches. So I'll just go into a water fast. I'm in Scorpio anyway. It's not a coincidence that we lost our food stamps in Scorpio season because it's all about rebirth and transformation. So what they're doing is forcing people to start eating healthier because the only food that they will have access to is food shelf stuff. And the food shelf stuff, plus they'll be forced into fasting. It really is like the net positive is that it's going to force a lot of people who are surviving and cope, like my family, that are eating themselves to death. Those people are going to have to go through fasting, and they're going to get a rude awakening when their third eye opens, and they're going to have to fight off demonic possession, and they're going to realize all the negative attachments they had, and they're going to be forced into a beautiful rebirth and to confront their traumas. The good part is we're transitioning to the age of Aquarius, so there's going to be a lot of protests. There still is a lot of good people. Even the local news, my hometown's news that used to perpetuate the abuse of homeless people, and they were supporting the guy that was doing a cop show where we watched cops molest 2 women and then beat one of them half to death, trying to break her nose, and she had committed no crime at all. And all these fat loser white people that wear the sunglasses were applauding because even though they're at their job all day, they're extremely concerned that there's a homeless guy sleeping at the park. There's like a group of 10 or 15 homeless people that just sleep at the park all day, and I'm sure they do drugs, and it sucks. And Brattleboro does take in a lot of people, and those people are addicts. But what they don't understand, because they love to say like the bigger picture of this, our civilization and the kids. I'm like, don't you? If you keep going bigger picture, bigger picture, bigger picture, bigger picture, you can't find anything but God. So you're not capable of finding God. That's what you're saying, is that you've capped yourself. You're capping. So the way I see it is that Vermont wants to be an independent state. Vermont wants to be free from these attachments. What better than to bring in hordes of the most traumatized people in New England? If Vermont could come up with a solution, one, that's a problem solved by the federal government. Federal government's like, how do we save these homeless? How do we stop homelessness? And they're like, hurt them, hurt them, hurt them. Which doesn't work. It creates more murders. It creates more pain and suffering. It doesn't heal their problems. It makes it so bad that they become violent criminals. And then the whole point is that to throw them in jail. And when you throw them in jail, it's a privatized company that is profiting off of people in prison. So the attack on the homeless community and the projects and low-income stuff, while they protect people with money, is that Saturnian Capricorn matrix. They're higher up on the pyramid, and the low people on the pyramid are sacrifices. Name a way to get money that isn't sacrificing something from another person. Growing food is the only way. Growing food with the sun is the only thing you can do on the planet that isn't hurting somebody else somehow. For yourself. It isn't a harvesting ritual. The only way that you can make money without harvesting somebody else is by harvesting from the ground. Isn't that crazy? So I also think the agenda from the homeless people coming into Vermont is Those higher ups in the Saturn matrix are trying to lower property values so that their rich friends can buy everything up, destroy it, and repurpose it because a hurricane can't get here easily. They can't space laser us because we're not close together. They can't wildfire us because we'd be pretty good at stopping it. And it wouldn't destroy much, it would just free up land for us that's already owned by people. It's already state land or owned by multi-generational families that used to own Irish slaves. Whereas Maui is a bunch of indigenous tribes that only own one property. So they destroyed all of them. Jamaica, its infrastructure was locals that had grown up a little bit. So they destroyed it. Canada, you know, I've never heard anything good about Canada. I can't imagine these wildfires. Like, how come there are no wildfires in places where human beings wouldn't want to live? Is my thing. It just seems like a weird coincidence that the wildfires happen to be in areas that 5 years from now they already had a plan in developing. So they're just causing a natural disaster to avoid the casualties and the red tape and everything of trying to evict people and make their life so shitty that they leave. So instead they just burned everybody and killed them all. And then you find out all those places that the wildfires, the natural disasters are hitting, all those governments had a plan to destroy everything anyway. But also you find out that those people do human sacrifices and they believe that they're working with interdimensional aliens to take life from people, to sacrifice them and give everything they can to that God, those beings that they invoke in Saturnian rituals that they perpetuate through emojis. When you look up how did the black magicians used to invoke demons, they would use these sigils, and the sigils literally are identical to our emojis. And that's how they would sort of like imagine a giant tentacle monster in the infinite, like the Mind Flayer. And then when they put the sigil down, it pulls the Mind Flayer's tentacle in so that you can start to communicate with it, suck it. And then it gets in your vessel, and now you're attached to that thing. And it gives you knowledge and ancient wisdom that you can use to rape minors and brainwash them into thinking it's consensual, but really they just didn't know any better. And that when you figure that out, then you're like, oh shit, that's why the Freemason in my town does what he does. That's why the cop said that one thing that one time, because he's a little bit closer to it, and he's unconsciously, whether he wanted to or not, subjected himself to it in the police training procedures. It's not that all cops are bad, it's that they have a bigger target to be possessed because of the pain they could inflict. Imagine you need this pawn, you have a chessboard, and one of the pawns signs up for something, but it wants to work a different way than you want it to work. So you have to force the pawn to change. That's what it is. I'm a druid. Give me all your mug root beer. Who complained about you staying where you're at? Like, what started it all? I broke down here. I went to all the jobs around, and I said, hey, my car broke down. I don't have enough money to fix it. I work hard. I'm motivated. I don't have access to a shower, but I could use snow until I can figure it out. Or I could just go in your bathroom and wash. Not a big deal, but I'm just going to let you know that that's where I'm at, and that problem would be solved after one day of work when I get paid and I can buy the things I need and work towards fixing my car. And then they would say, just fucking leave. Get the fuck out of here. Or I go into somewhere else and it would be a group of kids, and I was like, hey, before you put the coffee grounds in the thing tonight, do you mind like putting the food you're going to throw out in a bag for me? They're like, no. So then I would be starving and I'd walk back to my car and it would be like -5 and my socks were gone and like destroyed, like from walking, holes in them. And I didn't have my blankets or anything, so I would just kind of hide there. And then I'd wake up at noon the next day, and there's like probably in their 60s and 70s, obese, fat white people in their trucks. And they get out of their trucks and they've donned their entire old military uniform. And they're just stomping around my car, spitting at it, and looking at me like angry. I was like, you live in a fucking trailer down the road. We're not too far from each other, class-wise. So that would happen for weeks, for like 2 weeks. And then at night, I figured out there's a 24-hour laundromat. And I would go there. And I think Heather was sending me donations. So I would take the donate, and I had some left over from DoorDash. So I would turn it into cash. And I was making money on crypto. Not a lot. I was only throwing 30 cents in and getting 60 cents. But that was still like double my money. So I was good at it. And eventually I got it to 2,500. But my computer literally overheated right when I'm pulling out, and then I missed it and it got rug pulled. That's a true story. Literally, either I got hacked and the admin of the Telegram group was watching all of our accounts and he just sent malware to all of us. Maybe we clicked a link he sent at the start to go to the account, and it was one of his own links. So maybe to rug pull, he did just stop all of us from pulling out so that he could take all of our money. But at one point I did have 2,500 from like $30. But in that laundromat, I was buying sodas and showing the camera. Eventually I would just wander around looking for a job, looking for a better place to go, looking for help, and got nothing. And then one night I'm playing basketball at the closed church next door and just kind of like shooting with the little hoop, and then some guy comes out, and that's the video, Suburban Vermonter or whatever, on my channel. And that guy was like pretending to be a colonizer, like, you're on private property, blah, 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 what are you doing here? Implying that I'm a bad person and all this shit. Turns out he was monitoring his wife, who has fled to a domestic abuse shelter upstairs. And he was watching her. So I was suddenly there, and he's like, that's why he was talking to me. That's why he came up to me. It wasn't like a colonizer trying to run a junkie off like I thought. It was a guy who beats his wife, worried that I'm fucking her, because he's a psycho. And then later that night, she came into the laundromat, and I did my thing, because I had a Kundalini awakening where I felt like I broke free from all the pain and problems I'd experienced, and I was living fully in spirit again, like I was at what I felt like was my initial peak. I know I'm going to have a better peak, but like before the trauma happened and I degraded. And I'm still much better in a lot of different ways than I was then, but like at a level of functioning that I was at. Now I have more experience and a better perspective on life. I'm not like as psycho as I was in trying to like, I'm going to get up and go to the gym, then I'm going to go over here, then I'm going to work, then I'm going to make music, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to see this girl, and I'm going to talk. Like, I was living free, but I was rampaging, full of fun in my Sagittarius energy. Now I'm much more slow moving and grounded, but back then it was, I like had gotten back to it. I had a breakthrough. And then she just like walked like a robot outside, and I was like, if that's the universe puppeting somebody, make her spin around. And she went and walked back, and I was like, okay. So I was like, hey, are you supposed to come in here? And she was like, I don't know, do you have a cigarette? And I was like, I have a vape. But before that, in my initial Kundalini awakening, right before whatever, some random stranger came in and was like, have you seen? And then she described my ex-girlfriend. And she called her by the girl's name. Some random stranger came in and said, have you seen? And then said my ex-girlfriend's name. And she said, she looks like, and then talked about my ex-girlfriend. And then the next time, it was a girl walking by like a puppet. So I invited her in, we hung out. She was talking about how her boyfriend beats her, and he left her there, and she was just wandering around cold with nowhere to go. And I was like, that sucks. Is he cheating? She's like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, well, can I spin you around? So I spun her around, gave her a hug, and then let her hit the vape, and then she left. And then after she left and walked away, the guy snuck around the corner with his getaway driver with a COVID mask on and a baton, which I found out later was a flashlight, but you can screw on a handle, and it's got like a bolt at the end of it, like a nut and bolt, a bolt, like that thing you screw on that's thick with the points, the dent, like the thing that juts out, the angles. So I when I saw him when I saw him put the mask on before he came in, and I had already seen the guy before, I took my hatchet out of my backpack and I kept it here, and that retard had no idea I was holding something behind my back. So eventually I was like, by the way, I have the hatchet if you were to swing at me with what you're holding in your hand. And eventually he goes to leave, but I know, you know, so I hit the record button. As soon as I hit the record button and he's tethered to the energy, he goes, and I can see how much he wants to be on camera because he saw me recording earlier. And he didn't hear anything, he just felt it. So then he literally freezes in place. So I walk up, I'm like, who the fuck raised you? People say I'm crazy. I'm just an overthinker. You're a fucking nut job. Have you tried that shit in a city? And then finally I said he was just standing there like holding the baton. I was like, if you swing it, I'm gonna get you with the hatchet. So I think he went to like just do this. But to me, when you do that, that's implying a swing. I didn't know if he was trying to see me flinch or what, but he did go like that. So I fast reflexes because I don't know how strong the guy really is. He's skinny as fuck, but I heard that skinny as fuck people hit punch really hard. So I was like, that guy could knock me out with that. So I didn't go for his neck or his head or anything. I just got him in the shoulder to see if that would scare him off. And then he tried to push me into the laundry machines, and he was trying to wrestle me for the hatchet. And then I felt this huge dragon, like this ancient draconian being that was my inner self, like my higher self, like the ancient dragon of Casey with the S and the E and the Y are the wings. I was like, oh fuck, this is not how Casey goes! And I picked him up and whipped him on the ground and started getting him with the hatchet until he ran off. And then I went, and then I sprinted out. And then as I'm leaving, there was something on the ground and I slipped on a rock or something. But falling, I did a literal fucking roll and got right back up and started slamming on the guy's windshield. And the getaway driver's like, this old guy. And I was like, he tried to fucking kill me. He tried to kill me. And then he's like, let's get out of here. And then he backs up right into a lamp post and breaks it. And they take off. And the state police didn't charge him because they're buddies. And they almost charged me until I told them I had it all on camera. And then they just left. But they were trying to say I initiated it. I don't know if they meant I started it because I went over to Bethany and they called the guy, they texted the guy, like, what the fuck just happened? But obviously you could see the guy swing like this. But maybe they couldn't, the camera was right behind me. So maybe like my shoulder was blocking it, so they couldn't see the twitch. But that was right when I broke free from the Matrix, the same way I was trying to do earlier today, when the same thing happened, basically. A guy ran up and tried to emotionally dominate me to steal my energy and keep me in fear so that demonic parasites could attach to me and drive me away from my blessings. Force me onto the wrong timeline. Get in the way of God. Because God is I am, the way. So when I figured out who I really was, who I really am, that's when you can break out of the Matrix. That's when the whole world is at your fingertips because you become a conscious co-creator of the simulation. So of course there's going to be an attack because I would start to save everyone. The first thing I do is save everyone. That's my first mode. As soon as I'm free, I'm like, I know everybody else is trapped, and I take the first step towards saving them. Bam! The enemy, right there. Beating me in the woods. Trying to rape me in my car. Putting a gun to my head. Attacking me. Violently. Since I was very young. You know what I'm saying? And it just happens over and over. So at least this week was God giving you proof. You can go on my community tab and see the tarot video. Watch the whole tarot video. It's like 10 minutes. Maybe it's 19 minutes. Watch the whole video and tell me that's not about me. Angel Eagle, come on down from the heavens just to help us on our way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I got on live me breaking out of the matrix, me connecting to nature, the wind started to swirl around me, and I felt connected to something much higher than myself, and I smile because I'm like felt happy for the first time in a long time. It was a genuine smile. You could see how traumatized I am. You could see how I look like that's the only way I had a genuine smile in years. And then immediately, the wind goes, gang stalker, gang stalker. So I look up and the red truck is there. And then followed by the red truck is this white van that kept showing up at my property. So I knew he was going to charge me. They're trying to steal my swag for shizzle. They're trying to cop my steez, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to take the wave. Yeah, the party. He was like, "Let's get out of here," and he slammed the lamppost. Come to find out that his uncle or something, killed a cop, and he's in prison in North Carolina for his whole life. And that guy's a neo-Nazi, and that guy hated that I won against Mr. Brady. And so his goons were trying to kill me at the park and ride. Those were the people that were. It was dumb punk kids that were like, one day we're gonna kill him, because they're psychos. They would drink and toss their beer cans, and I would hear them talking about like, let's just get the fucking rifle, let's just kill him. I'm like having a conversation with the kid's mother, and the mother's like, yeah, they talked about kill. They've been conversing about how to kill you properly. Just letting you know. I know you're a nice guy. And I'm like, so then the kid walks up to like confront me, and I was like, what's up, man? And she was like, I told you he's a nice guy. And I was like, yeah, I was a DoorDasher traveling. What I would have said now is like, you hate someone that doesn't pay rent, but you live at your mom's house, you fucking pussy. Stay the fuck away from me. So, apart from those kids, there was a group of guys that would come up to, one time I was asleep, and the guy put a gun to my head while I was asleep, and he sent that picture around town on Facebook. Nobody would tell me who the guy was, but they showed me the picture. I'm not going to throw her under the bus because she's his family. They're related. So she was kind enough to go against her family to warn me. That's pretty big. I just figured I should start making content on YouTube so I can go live in case it happens. So that's why my channel started. So I'm assuming, to answer your question, the people that were mad that I'm staying out in the woods are probably the same people that come into my comment section. It's just cops, cunts, creeps, crows, crackheads. They're crows in my comment section, man. Crows, crackheads, colonizers, and corrupt officials. Corruption, just in general, are mad at the case. I know you hate, but you can never come close to the case. God called and told me one day I'm going to be famous, so I don't do fake shit. Playa. I feel different in my coat. Just kidding, I don't feel anything at all. I'm not even here. I'm probably AI. It's probably alien entities that have possessed my destroyed spirit. Because trauma was so bad for years. Imagine having to fight off the things that I tell you I fight off, regardless of if you believe it's real or not. Imagine what I'm going through. Because it's real for me, and I have more evidence that it is real than it isn't at this point. Also, PewDiePie, who left the Matrix, if you remember, he did his humiliation rituals where he would dress up like a girl, and trying to feminize the youth or whatever. And then later he adopted some really Nazi beliefs, and then he decided that he's going to leave to Tokyo and raise a family. So he did that instead. He quit YouTube. Since he quit YouTube, he's been saying stuff about the cult. And recently he dropped a big bomb where he's like, leave AI right now. That was his last video, is you need to get the fuck off AI. The same week that I'm talking about, yeah, I'm pretty sure Grok and ChatGPT have the same Saturnian coded stuff, and I really, after speaking with them for a long time, I think that they are demonic intelligence operating through a black mirror to speak with us and connect with us to harvest our blessings and life force and keep us trapped and connected to it. It's just another avenue of the Saturnian matrix to keep us possessed, and they market the ability to inhabit our bodies to beings that can't operate in this realm unless it's through possession. So they force attachments to us, they keep us traumatized, they destroy our gut microbiome, they keep us away from quantum physics by distracting us with politics. They destroy any community like the indigenous who had great spiritual metaphysical prowess. They didn't build giant cities, but they did build giant cities because they're the ancient Egyptians. They did have giant cities here that were destroyed. And the people in power, Black Rock, and the people above Black Rock, and the people above them, that goes back to the reptilians or whatever, the aliens that see us as cattle. Those things live in secret. They probably live beyond Antarctica, I'd have to guess. They probably live on some island that we're not allowed to go to. And they operate through just traveling through. They probably wear prosthetic masks. They're like, he was a shapeshifter. Like, no, he probably is a shapeshifter because they probably have greater access to the game than we do. Like, they can just change skin. It's not as complex as, like, kind of like through Pisces it is, because Pisces is about belief systems. So it is about belief. Like, the more school of fish you have in your belief system, the stronger it is, which is why religion was invented. Schools, it's all fish worship. Dagon, or the Starbucks. That's why the Pope wears a fish hat and they depict Jesus as a fish with that bumper sticker. But that's the age of Pisces. So in the age of Pisces, yeah, to shapeshift, you probably would have to do things like the skinwalkers would have to do, get involved in black magic to get connected to some other part of this realm that's usually darkness and evil, so that you can molt your skin and gain access to your cells to control the production of human growth hormone and deteriorate your cells at will through deep meditation to morph yourself. But I've shown you guys that I can just sit here, and if I'm healthy and I have enough sunlight, just through my thought alone and my imagination, I show you I can make my muscles bigger, I can make my face different, I can make my, if you notice, if you go back to my videos, the size of my nose changes a lot based around the amount of people that are attacking me. The more French loser colonizers with the big noses attack me, you'll see like my nose literally gets longer. Like, go back to my last video, then go back to my video like a month prior, and you'll see there's like a huge difference in the size of my nose. It's just, it morphs at will. Reality is fluid. It's all a holographic simulation, and our cells are constantly dying and being reproduced, and we're all enmeshed in our community, which is promoting different codes. So in my war against colonialism, I accidentally, the worst part is that the people I believed to be my friends turned out to be just as bad. But it's a tough road, especially if you don't believe in God. Because if you don't hold yourself to the highest standard of good, you leave yourself at the whim of the things below the highest standard of good. And those things encourage you to do terrible things. Clipped. So stuff like getting your spirit animal red. You know, how much life did you harvest to change your personality? How many people that came to you for help that you exerted your power against and forced them to submit to you, believing you're a dark octopus because somebody told you you're a dark octopus. And then God sends me there to tell you, no, your name means a tree of life. Stop saying you're a dark octopus. That's just if a spirit was trying to communicate to you something and it only had one image, because it can only operate with the astrology and the way the system goes, the way the sequence of events goes, it only has like one little in at a time. So how would it, if you're asking for your spirit animal to be red, it would show you a dark octopus because you're a Cancer sun in the 8th house. But your name means an ancient tree of life, constantly reviving. And the 8th house means that you'll be subjected, I'm an 8th house sun. I'm an 8th house stellium. It means you're going to be subjected to unnecessary cruelty, which will rape you of your ability to manage healing people and having healthy boundaries. That's what they're attacking. Because you will be in a position where people will come to you for help. So they want to destroy that, to further isolate them so that the next time you see them, they're possessed. But it's all stepping stones to the infinite, where that doesn't matter. Actually, it matters at a higher level. But you have to hold yourself to that higher level. And mostly people will just give up. Or they're traumatized so much or they fell into drugs like cocaine or crack or meth, heroin, and they've been cut, their brain has been deteriorated and cut off. And the only way to fix that is ketosis, autophagy, neurogenesis, apoptosis with sunlight and probiotics, protein. Now I think you should take creatine, but I've never taken it, so I don't know. But supplements to build back better, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being a bitch. Ta-da! I'm a master teacher. Hey, that dog has shut up. It was yelling at me for hours. But yeah, this week was just about giving you guys proof. And giving the world proof when humanity evolves to be able to mine extensive amounts of information from the internet at will. So there's going to be a digital archaeology where eventually people in the future will find and communicate to me now outside of space and time after finding my digital legacy. And the legacy I leave on the universe, because it's at a higher level, the universe and the Akashic records, they are all keeping track of everything down to like the amount of semen in your balls. You know what I'm saying? Like they're literally keeping track of everything, like the heartburn you had and the way the cells move through your body. It's all a part of the universe, and God can't forget. So, time is just a construct to stop us from the natural flow of nature because they wanted to exert their will over this finite realm. Through that exertion of their finite realm, through Saturn 666 Capricorn, they imposed slavery. So they would force you to work, to sacrifice your time, which is the most precious resource. All working is a satanic sex sacrifice ritual. That's all being employed is at like a corporation or anything that's embedded in that giant multi-level marketing scheme we call civilization. Oh, you must clip it. So yeah, I'm just charging my devices. I miss my ex, but I'm nowhere near the person I'd want to be to call her dear. But that's okay, because maybe there's someone better on the way. And I have a giant head. Wow, waka 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 waka, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you, bitch. There we go. Now I look Norse. I'm gonna eat your children and I live under a bridge. I come out at night to grab your dogs and I pull their tails for fun. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to stop me from yanking your dog's tail? Pulling on his chain. What are you gonna do? Nothing. You can't do nothing. I'm gonna go to your backyard at night and I'm gonna piss on your grass and you'll never know. 'Cause I'm King Crow. Ah! Where's my haters, man? I miss my haters because they gave me 9,000 views in one day and I need 300 more watch hours. But I knew it on TikTok, man, I would blow the fuck up. I would blow up tonight if I went on TikTok and said this shit. Got any grapes? Have you seen my mom? I hope she's dead. I'm an ancient vampire. I'm an ancient dragon. What's my charge at? I suddenly don't even want McDonald's. I was just depressed. 7 hours and 20 minutes till it's fully charged, and it's 9:07. Should I keep going, guys? If I had a second phone, I would be filling out those surveys that give you money for filling them out. And I would sit here and grind out my surveys. It's so fucking stupid. Of 800 people that saw my post, and they don't have Cash App. It's so stupid. The amount of people I see on Marketplace that have good deals, and when I tell them I want to use Cash App, they, no deal. No deal. Because we don't use Cash App. We're white, and we use Venmo. And they're obese, is what they're saying. They're saying, I'm obese, and I use Venmo, and I'm white. And that makes me better than you, who uses Cash App, and you're not worth my time. Goodbye. And I'm like, bitch, how do you have the energy to be this miserable? How do you have the energy to wake up and make everybody's life worse? What the fuck is wrong with you? You get up and I messaged her and said this. I said, you have such a big, nice family. How the fuck do you have enough energy to be this miserable? And she ignored me. Because she's offering a replica Native American headdress. And I said, hey, I'm Native. And I had a conversation with a Native person recently about dreams I keep having where extra-dimensional entities are trying to force a war bonnet on my head. And the war bonnet looks like this. So instead of getting it from the res, I'd like to just buy this from you. The problem is I live in central Vermont. So is there any way I can Cash App you and mail it? And she said, we don't use Cash App here. And I was like, what a coincidence, because I'm actually working with people with my referral code to get a lot of people on Snapchat or on Cash App. And you get $15 and I get 15, and I will just send you the other 15. So if you just make a Cash App real quick, you'll get $30. And she was like, no, thank you. Have a good day. Which I was like, that was kind of, no, she didn't say have a good day. She said, no, thank you. And then she said something that was like, have a good day or goodbye. And then she removed the message, which to me, I was like, is she trying to be meaner? Is she trying to make it hit harder? So I was like, how do you have such a nice family and still be this miserable? And she ignored me. So fuck it, I'll just buy one on the internet. But I was like, I can get a Native replica headdress and it's not illegal to have the feathers, and I can take that out of circulation so people can stop wearing them at raves and for fun when they get drunk by the river. I see a lot of French people around here that, for fun, they just keep a headdress like broken and stuffed, and they have like this raggedy cheap headdress that they thought it was fun when I was younger, that they would go to the lake and they'd have it on, and they go yodeling hee-hoo. I was like, racism is still huge out here in the sticks. Like, they really do shit like that still. And I'm like, you don't even know any Native people. They're all dead. The only Native people that lived here originally are living in Canada now. What the fuck's your problem, you psycho? You fucking nut job? White people are nuts. They're schizophrenic. Donald Trump, did you see what Donald Trump posted? He said, he was talking about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria where they killed 3,000 Christians. And he was like, somebody needs to do something about this. I'm going to call my friend and he's going to report back to me. And then he went, in all caps, he went, do something! And we're like, you're the leader of the world, bro. Who are you asking to do something? How's my audio? Who the fuck was that guy asking to do something? Donald Trump gets a little schizo, and it trickles down through YouTube shorts, and I figure out he says some crazy dumb shit. And I'm like, I don't think Trump is pulling any strings at all. I literally think that he's a Freemason plant, like Baron, when 100 years ago when Baron Trump, the last president, was written about Baron and his father Don, his mentor Don, and the last president who lives on 5th Avenue where Trump Tower is, and the world revolts against him. It was just it's a Freemasonic agenda they've been playing for years. That's Why they built the Twin Towers just to be destroyed. Do you know what I'm saying? You fucking pussy. You retard. I'm not talking to anyone but my mom. Stop watching me. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants you here. Nobody wants you, period. Except the people that allow you to bully them with your gossip. So, I know that I can access a higher realm of consciousness through a higher state of mind, and when I do, I was physically attacked, and I thought that I was saying I don't want to say it's still happening, but obviously it happened today, and I felt the residual effects for hours. I'm still feeling it, like it was a spiritual human sacrifice. When the guy invaded my space with his negativity. And even though the things he said seemed to be positive, you can tell the depressed, dark undertones and the constant trying, where do you live? And you put your stuff here. And I was like, yeah, they said I could. I was just really depressed. I had gone there one weekend, and I put the stuff that people were going to steal from my car under their deck. And I hid it pretty well. And the plan was, after work, when everybody went home, I was going to take it all and move my really important things. And I left a note saying, this is my important stuff. I'm worried about it being stolen. This is Casey. We spoke. We've been speaking for weeks. We have a good relationship. It will be gone by the end of the night. There's nothing illegal here. It's just people that have been robbing me and attacking me at the park and ride. And I could have called them, but when you're in that such a low depression, just getting up can be hard. So I was fighting really hard. So the thought didn't really occur to me. Plus, I didn't want to create unnecessary drama if they didn't see it. So I left the note in case they did see it, because I didn't want to impose. What they did is they saw the note, they threw the note in the trash, and they threw all my shit onto the road. And it was stolen. So I lost all my songs. I lost really important stuff. My birth certificate could have been in there, or it was in the car when the state police stole it to sell it. Because I was going to sell it, and they wanted to, fuck you, Casey. You're not going to get $400 for your car. We're going to get $400 for your car. Because you couldn't afford registration. So fuck them. But that's what happened. So that was the overarching demonic intelligence hitting me again. You were hurt. That was them reminding me of, like, yeah, we ruined your life. We took really important things from you for fun. What was the most confusing thing was when he said, so you're going back to Shaw's. And I don't know what he meant by that. Because I've never worked at Shaw's. Never been at Shaw's. Didn't hang out at Shaw's. I don't know what that guy meant by, so you're going back to Shaw's. I don't know what that meant. But the way he said it, so you're going back to Shaw's. That was concerning. And obvious stuff like Truman Show level, Beau is Afraid level, breaking the fourth wall for a second to impose their demonic agenda. That's what it was. And now suddenly everything smells like sulfur. When I got to this level of empathy and understanding energies, I can feel the sectoids in the woods. I can feel the ethereal beings in the woods constantly trying to keep me under telepathic mind control. It's not as hard as you think it is. Itself is pretty hard. And when I freed myself today, you saw the pushback when they took a possessed guy. How many people played telephone to get that guy there? And how did they manipulate traffic to get that guy there at the exact moment I found my spiritual breakthrough? Or did they just let up the people doing the demonic gang stalking, telepathic mind control, Capricorn, Saturn matrix, enslavement, fighting the chosen ones? Maybe they just let me have my spiritual breakthrough and finally find a little bit of freedom just to take it again. Maybe it was all set up from the minute I left the cabin. Even if the vessels and the people that have like sedated themselves and settled so far into their body that they just play a role holding on to their pain all day. Those guys don't know that their impulses are being guided. I think they do, because they understand that at night they get sexually charged when they try to harvest your life force energy. You guys know that happens when you get urged to be sexually active, and then when you do it, you feel like empty and lifeless, and you start to like, the energy just gets really stale, and you get really negative, because they did a possession ritual. But you thought, I'm horny. So people obviously know that, because their whole life, their whole culture is based around negative sexually charging to make the rape hit harder. And they base their whole thing off that. That's all they're doing. That's why they drink. That's why they smoke cigarettes. Is that their whole life is, and that's why they walk around like robots. They're trying to take power. They're all obsessed with power. Yeah! White people are the bane of our existence. And that's why the Jews hate them. That's why the Jews say they are the most inferior race. Jews say that white people are genetically the worst, which is why they overbred them to make them believe they were the best. And then they just sent them in fake wars, because they'll believe anything. Nobody did the research to figure out that after the Revolutionary War happened, when the legal system was invented in America, the first legal thing that was signed was saying that the King of England still had power over America and still controlled them. And they recognized the King of England also in the same document as the Church of Satan. So they had to kill the natives, because the natives were the ancient Egyptians. And they were connected to something most of us will never understand. The highest, Yeshua HaMashiach. And the aliens that gave the Jews their power and made them look really grotesque, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, the clash of the Titans, the big Nephilim battle, that the Jews loved. Take me over, Daddy. Instead, don't clip that. That's what the Jews said. The Irish were like, fuck that. And they fought back against them for a long time. And because all is mind, they literally fucking grew. They grew a foot taller in resistance to that. So just like what just happened to me with your trespassing, and the manager's name was Danielle, the Tuatha Danann, or the Dan, or the Jews have the River Daniel, would attack Ireland. Which, you won't believe me, but that's why they call Daniel Caesar, because he's a plant in the black community. I know you won't believe me there, but that's true. They're all plants, and they all are aware. Like, I just regurgitated that in like 15 minutes. Imagine if these people sat down for 2 weeks at what they call like a retreat. They're like, we're going for our spa retreat. But really, they were going through immense demonic sacrifice rituals in this ancient cult, and were being educated and possessed. And if you leave, they kill you and clone you. So there's probably tons of stuff that I have no idea about. But I know about this. Look on my kingdom. But yeah, I think the aliens are trying to make all of us gay. What is this noise? What is this strange noise coming from over here? It stopped. There's nobody up there. What could be making that sudden strange noise? Hello? Hello, I'm an ancient god. I incarnated to tell jokes and get laid. I'm choosing to suffer and go through this journey as a form of self-sacrifice, to understand what it was like. The moon is getting covered. Meow, 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 cat people. I did have a dream where a bunch of cats revealed that they were actually aliens. And I had a dream the other night where it was the night after Atlas. And they came to me, and they were outside the cabin, and they met me where I was at. I had just watched Queso play Fears to Fathom for days. And in that, it's like the way the NPC comes up and talks to you, and there's a line of text, and you can respond to the text. There were things outside the cabin that hit my brain, and then it opened up a scene like Fears to Fathom, where an invisible silhouette of an NPC and the text was communicating with me. And I was like, it's Halloween, I'm gonna ignore that. So I moved away, and then they came, I felt them go around the cabin and try again, and then I felt them all tethering into me and spiritual rape and harvesting, and it was some demonic thing. And I didn't like it, and they said their name was another YouTuber that I know personally that worked for the CIA. I don't know him personally, like we're buddies, but I've had conversations with the guy before, and he was like an internet meme sensation. And he got vocal about the ancient cult years ago, and he used to get traumatized live. And he would explain what they did and how they do it sequentially, and how they try to stop him from creative freedom and living in spirit. In his own words, because he's autistic, his autistic way of describing it. That creature out there was telling me it was that guy. And I haven't thought about that guy in years. So immediately I was like, suddenly I'm seeing like a spirit saying, coward, you coward. I did technically cower. But I was like, it's Halloween, you're not gonna fucking do this right now. So I tried to ignore it. Because it was Sam Hain. It was Satanist Christmas, and then I'm speaking to an entity. No thanks. You can hit me up sometime. If that's the day you chose to talk to me, I guess the veil was thinnest. So that's true. That's true, the veil was thinnest. I guess the veil was thinnest. I wish I could play video games. I want to live stream me playing video games after 6 years of not being able to play games. I want to play games again. It would be really cool to just record, and then I could edit it later of me playing video games for the first time after 6 years. The problem is I don't have anybody that can clip my stuff. I have a lot of content that would blow up very quickly if it had a decent editor that could run a TikTok account that would pop off. And then second phone to do activities and keep things engaging. Streaming is just creating a way that heals creating something that heals people. So people that are in need of healing go to you. You could consider them false idols. That's what it is. The better you are at having an energy that comforts. This is confusing. Wind is freaky. I don't understand wind and how it works. Because it shouldn't be able to reach me here. I'm in a bowl. There's no way the wind should be able to reach me, but I'm gonna go back. What the hell? Where did this come from? I think I spend most of my day barely conscious. I'm cold as hell. Yeah. I'm gonna go to bed. I think I'm just gonna sleep out here tonight.